Cool. Thanks everyone for your time. Really appreciate it. I'm running an organization called Balance, and we're basically approaching usability in a few different ways, and just wanted to share some of the work we've done with you, and so we can get your feedback as we build it out. A little bit of background on myself. First heard about Ethereum when I was jogging around San Francisco listening to podcasts. And I heard this incredibly strange voice come on this podcast, and he said, "I want to build a decentralized computer for the world." I just thought. Now I've been very fortunate to have come across one alien in my life, and that's Patrick from Stripe. And so I've always had this kind of mental model for what an alien looks like, and I'd been searching for another alien, and I thought, this is it. I found it. So I started learning a little bit more about Ethereum, but I was also kind of exploring a few other ideas, and went to the Bitcoin meetup, and a very good friend of mine, Bill Tai, who's this like kite surfing venture capitalist, he's just the most enthusiastic human being you'll ever meet. He's like, I said, look, I'm going to do some design work. I'm not very experienced. I've done a couple of things like a blockchain logo and other bits and bobs, and where should I put my time? He goes, Rich, there's this Ethereum thing. And I think it's a thing. And I was just like, awesome, sounds good. And then it just so happened that Gavin Wood was speaking at the sister hacker house of the place I was staying. So I went along to this dingy little hole, and it was actually, I think it was the same day that the WhatsApp acquisition was announced. I think that was the day that Gavin was speaking. And so it was a really interesting time for him to be talking about this, given what's happening right now. And afterwards I went up and I asked if I could help out, and we got back to England and we jammed for a couple months on different concepts for the kind of Ethereum network monitor, a Dapps store, what the wallet might look like, and these various ideas. And then I had to leave the community for two reasons. First of all, I ran out of money. I just had an enormous amount of debts from investing in a bunch of crazy stuff, which has paid off now, but certainly hadn't then. And also, just being in the UK, it just drained my enthusiasm. Every single person I spoke to about the ideas behind Ethereum just told me I was an idiot. Now they message me on Facebook asking me for token tips, so it's incredibly satisfying if you wait long enough. And so I re-entered the community last April, and really my enthusiasm was restored, and I had a little bit of capital to deploy that I wanted to help. And so I spent a bunch of time kind of beginning to relearn what everyone was up to, and was amazed at the progress that had been made. Seeing all of these different projects and how they all worked. I was extremely fortunate to be invited out to meet the Filecoin team in Curacao when they were jamming on their tools. And really, Juan, it was amazing in explaining to me how these protocols and incentive layers could change things. So that kind of really dragged me back down to the rabbit hole, that kind of stage 5 rabbit hole we're looking for, where you just feel like, okay, I can never leave this community now, and I'm all in. And so that's how I feel now. And what we're trying to do at Balance is I guess not finish, but continue the work that Gavin and Vitalik asked me to start, which think about how to do a user interface for Dapps, how to kind of build this open financial system, and how to kind of improve usability. So here we go. I'd love to show you kind of where we're getting to. The first product that we just launched is a tool called Manager, and right now Manager is a web-based app that interacts with MetaMask Wallet and Ledger Wallet. We're going to be adding support for Trezor and the Parity Signer as soon as we can, and our goal is to make a simple user interface for people who just want to kind of check their tokens and send them from one place to another or buy new ones. What we're working on this summer. And we're calling this summer, instead of the summer of love, we're calling it the summer of lockdown. So if you don't hear from any of us, or we're kind of off the grid a little bit, it's because we'll be focusing. And we won't be going to any meetups or events or anything like that. We're just going to be cranking to get this thing right. And so Wallet will be our kind of attempt at a mobile wallet. It's going to be built in React, and it's going to be mobile first. And when we've got both of these products that are working, and we wanted to think of a way to get them to talk to each other. And that's really where the discussion around WalletConnect came out. At a kind of high level, one thing I want to say is that we don't view ourselves as a wallet company. If you look at the market capitalization of wallet companies in the real world, it's not very good. But if you look at the market capitalization of banks, it's pretty fantastic. And so actually, we've started to view ourselves as a bank for the open financial system. And every single protocol that we work with that is going to do some kind of transaction, we're encouraging them to build in rewards for the user interface, because that will lead to a competition for the user interface. If you look at the ZRX system, it's basically one big design competition. Everyone is trying to make the best relayer. Everyone is trying to kind of create this ecosystem, and that's because ZRX has created I think, an interesting implementation of incentives for user interface developers. And I think that it's really important for us as a community, talk to all of these new protocols that are being created. If they are designing any kind of financial product or any form of way in which there's value created, we want to make sure that at the user interface we're getting rewarded. And the reason why is because then we can invest huge sums of money into hiring great people and making great software. So a good example of this came from Zaki when I was talking with him about Cosmos. They want to introduce the concept of tagging transactions that flow through the Cosmos network, and then the user interface layer will be rewarded for that work. And I guess I want to draw everyone's attention to these new movements, because I think we're going to be able to build enormous businesses that make huge revenue and don't need to sell tokens in order to actually deliver great user experiences. And so wallets, going from basically what they are now, which is charity projects where you get all the flack and no help, they're going to go to being extremely profitable companies that are going to have enormous valuations, and that will allow us to deploy that capital and hire incredible people and build great companies. And that's what I want to do. So I really don't view what we're doing as a wallet. That is just a stepping stone to building an open bank. And I think that's incredibly important, because right now there's a huge underinvestment in user experience, and that's because the incentives are not set up correctly. But as soon as we're all making a shitload of money, they will be set up very well, I promise you. Okay. So now I'm going to move to WalletConnect. And so we've built this kind of web-based app, and we had this mobile wallet prototype that we've been working on. And there were some interesting experiments in kind of using QR codes and things to talk to each other. But really, we wanted to recreate the user experience of WhatsApp. WhatsApp, I think, if anyone has used it on the web, it allows you to sync your mobile wallet with your web-based kind of application for WhatsApp. And this user interface pattern, while not super common in the West, is actually very common in Asia. And many people are kind of logging into lots of services using WeChat and WhatsApp-style login. And so really, WalletConnect is our approach to building a set of libraries to allow this flow to work. And we built it for ourselves, and we just decided it felt like the right thing to do to open source it, because we want to make it more available to other people. And our goal is to actually help kind of every dApp to talk to every wallet, whatever we do. And we hope that this standard could become like Bluetooth for our industry, where I don't care about, I don't want to know about like the Panasonic kind of network that would kind of communicate my sound from one server to another. It's just when you see that Bluetooth logo, you know that you have a set of expectations as a user about what you can and can't do and how those products can talk to each other. And that's really why we've separated WalletConnect out into its own foundation. You know, initially we thought it would be called WalletConnect, but it felt wrong, and we don't want to like brand it ourselves. We want this to make this an open, interoperable standard that everyone can contribute to and help us with. So let's look at what that user experience might be like. I mean, we all know that CryptoKitties is the killer dApp so far, in that it killed the network for a while. And we want to improve that user experience. So you can imagine just a pop-up on CryptoKitties to log in, and with our tools, we'll have MetaMask built right in there. And then if they're using WalletConnect, it's just scanning the QR code to kind of connect to our wallet. And then once that connection's established, new transactions are pushed as an encrypted push notification back to the wallet, and then you confirm them on your phone. And so this user experience, we think, is pretty optimal for people who are not familiar with Chrome extensions. And when we talk to dApp developers who do user testing, many of them say that for normal people outside of our community, a Chrome extension is actually quite an interesting mental leap to begin with, but then also understanding you're going to put money in that. There's like, and then that it's going to talk to a second network that's not the internet. We're talking like 3 layers of abstraction and quite a lot of confusion. But the pattern of doing something on the web that's financial and confirming it on your phone is something that people are more comfortable with. A lot of people log into Coinbase using authenticator apps, and so they're comfortable with this notion that like to do something securely, you would want to do something on the web and confirm it on the phone. And so we're finding just in like rough user tests where we use hacks that people are much more comfortable with this, and like they kind of understand that yes, there's some setup process, yes, we've got to download an app, that's where they're going to put the money in these things. But the result is that people are like slotting Ethereum into a mental model that's already there, rather than having to build an entirely new mental model. And I think for the next billion users, I really do think that's going to be important. So we think that for now, this is something we're really comfortable kind of putting out there. We're working incredibly hard to like talk to all the best app developers we can, and like we're really open to discussing everything with everyone. And alongside all of the wallet providers, I've reached out to as many as I can, and we really want to work with everyone. We're excited to partner with ZeroX, and our hope is that we can bring the WalletConnect experience to relayers as soon as possible. So you can imagine people are making a trade, and they will be confirming it on their wallet that lives on their phone. Yeah, so there's lots more to be done there. We're also building a set of libraries that'll be for the web on the Dapps developer side, and then we also want to do it in React, Swift, and Android for wallet developers. And so WalletConnect.js will be kind of our pop-up that goes over. A really interesting project that Victor from Trust is working on is how you would get native wallets to talk to native Dapps. So you can imagine that somebody's building a game that's going to go on iOS. They don't also want to recreate the whole wallet. And so Victor's been exploring really interesting concepts for how you can get his native wallet Trust to talk to the other native Dapp on the phone and kind of communicate with each other and work together. And so we really hope that we can help out with that as well, because I think that's fantastic. But yeah, luckily I got to spend a little bit of time at Stripe, and I saw the difference that was made when you spend an unbelievable amount of time thinking about documentation. And so I want to kind of say that we're doing our best job to kind of explain how this entire project works. And yeah, this is a kind of rough overview. I'm not expecting everyone to kind of read and absorb this, but hopefully the rough flow there is that anyone can spin up a kind of WalletConnect server. We will have a kind of WalletConnect.org server. And we view the system right now as similar to kind of Matrix.org, where there is this mega server that takes most of the chat and like that. But if Matrix.org was to go down, it gracefully falls back to like the other community of servers. This is not tokenized. We're not selling any form of token to incentivize it right now. The whole goal is that we think that every wallet provider would like run their own WalletConnect server to kind of handle the connections and move the information backwards and forwards. And that there are lots of things to be worked out to make this as kind of decentralized as possible. When a performant protocol does emerge, we imagine that we want to kind of melt this into a protocol. But right now, we all know that transaction speeds are slow, and so really, I think it makes sense to take a pragmatic approach. And the current instantiation on our current WalletConnect server, we built it in Colombia and Medellin with like really crappy internet, and it was like lightning fast. So we really think that we're happy with the set of trade-offs we've made right now in terms of decentralization and usability, but we can always improve those, and we're actively seeking kind of audit in terms of security, feedback in terms of developer onboarding, and collaboration in terms of wallets and Dapps developers. So really keen to talk to you all. Yeah, so what we are allowing developers to do is